Hello, y'all. I'm msworld, also known as Casey, and my goal is to show you how to travel around the world in style and on a budget. Today, I'm in London, England.
Take me back to the days that you and I didn't bother wish on shooting stars. London, London, London is calling. Remember the days of our rebel hearts. Those were the best times of rock and roll. London, London, London is calling. Take me back to the days that you and I didn't bother wish on shooting stars.
London is a super popular city for tourists and travelers from all over the world. More than 20 million people visit the city every year. I know because most of them were at Westminster Abbey the day I visited. Big crowds of people are one thing you should expect if you're also going to visit London. There are lots of people here any time of year you visit because the current population of the city is just under 10 million people. No matter what time of year you visit, the streets and attractions will be crowded. Be prepared to wait in line, which people in England call a queue. I recommend visiting during what's called the shoulder season, which is spring and fall. London is at its most crowded in summer, and that's when everything is at its most expensive. In winter, some attractions will be closed. But no matter when you visit London, be sure to carry an umbrella or rain poncho with you every day that you're in the city. That's tip one. Prepare for weather. I also suggest carrying a jacket or sweatshirt with you even on warm days because the weather can change quickly. Getting used to London weather has been a particular challenge for me because 70 degrees in London does not feel like 70 degrees in Louisville, Kentucky, where I'm from. Very cold winds breeze through London from Scandinavia, which is like Norway and Denmark and Sweden, and they will cut right through you. The Viking wind makes 70 degrees feel much colder, and I got caught out without a jacket and actually had to purchase one, so carry something with you so you don't end up spending extra money like me. By the way, you will see that jacket in my style video, so be sure to subscribe so you can see all the videos in my London playlist. When I travel, I like to pack a tote bag with essentials like a poncho and snacks, a portable phone charger, and my passport. So throw some extra piece of clothing in your bag as well in case the Viking winds invade London while you're there. Yes, that is a joke based on the Viking raids from the 700s, and yes, it still holds up. When you travel internationally, keep your passport on you at all times. No one cares about your driver's license. Have your passport. Before you ever go to London, unless you're already living in Europe, you have to have a passport, and as of 2025, you need a special visitor visa as well. This is a new thing, and it's actually very easy to do online. It will cost about $14 American, and you should get it within 24 hours. Visa is digital, so you don't even have to wait for the mail to get to your house. You will also want to buy some stuff before you go to London, and I don't mean like sunglasses and walking shoes, though you do need those, so make sure you have those. No, I'm talking about your phone, your small appliances, your devices, anything you might want to plug into a wall. If you are an American, a European who doesn't live in the UK, or anyone else who's not in England, you are going to need a special converter plug doodad. Yes, doodad is the technical name. So travel gear, that's the next thing you're going to need. England uses a different power voltage than America and many other countries around the world. That means you can't take your regular phone charger and stick it into the wall. You need a converter. You'll plug this into the wall in England, then plug your phone or your device or your hair tools or whatever you've got into the converter. Make sure you have a converter that is specifically made to include England and not one that's just generally for Europe because England has their own thing going on, so converters for Europe won't work in England. Once you get to England, you will notice some particular quirks and differences here if you're an American. You might think that since it's England and presumably if you're coming from America you speak English, there won't be any kind of language barrier. You're wrong. England speaks its own brand of English that includes a lot of slang words Americans just don't use. They also use a lot of words differently, and sometimes they use them in unexpected ways. Pronunciations are also very different, particularly when it comes to place names. So if you're looking at something on a map and you think you know how to say it, you're probably wrong. Let me give you some examples. This is an easy one because it's also a neighborhood in New York, so probably you know that this is pronounced as Greenwich. How about this one though? It looks to me like Southwark. They say this word more like Southwark. Southwark. It doesn't look like you'd say it that way, but that's how they say it. How about this one? Being not just from the United States, but also being from the southern United States, I want to pronounce this with a long I and say Spitalfields because that's how it's spelled. But they say Spitalfields with a short I sound. And that's something to keep in mind when you're working with British English. They do not draw words out the way we do in the South. Words are clipped and short and said very quickly in British English. Words with long spellings are pronounced short. Vowels and sounds are just not drawn out. Like this one right here. I look at this and I say Gloucester. They pronounce this as Gloucester. Here's another one. It's not Cheshire, it's Cheshire. This is the worst one of them all. This is not Leicester, it's Leicester. How they're getting Leicester from this spelling is a secret known only to the British, but that's how they say it. Y'all thought I was messing with you, didn't you? Words in England are not pronounced the way they look. So if you hop in a cab and you want to go to one of these places, try your best to pronounce it like the way they pronounce it, or the cabbie may not even know what you're trying to say. There are lots of small language differences that really make things somewhat confusing, so I'll just give you some quick basics. A booking is a reservation. Rubbish is trash, and a bin is a trash can. A queue is a line, and a quid is a British pound. In the US, we have a lot of slang words for dollar. You might say $5, 5 bones. In England, the word quid is used interchangeably with pound. So if something costs 5 quid, it's 5 pounds. They don't use the euro in London, they use the pound. So make sure you've got the right money with you when you go. When it comes to getting around London, or really anywhere you travel, I recommend using public transportation. London has a really great public transport system. You can hop on a bus or a subway and pretty much get anywhere. But if you do take a cab, you will find out that everything you've heard about London cabbies is true. London cabbies are experts when it comes to their city. Ask them any question and you will get an answer. They can go anywhere and they can give you directions for any place you want to be. It actually takes 2 to 3 years to become a cabbie in London. They have to do a ton of studying and take tests, and by the time they hit the road, they have an extensive knowledge of the city and its landmarks. If you're lost, if you want a recommendation for where to eat or what to do, ask a cabbie. They can absolutely help you. London has a boatload of parks. I went to several of them already, and they are beautiful and they are free, which we love on this channel. So I highly recommend visiting some of these parks when you go to London, but leave all the animals you find there alone. City officials do not want tourists or residents feeding the wildlife, and I think there's even still a law on the books that prohibits you from touching the king's pelicans in St. James's Park. I'm going to talk more about the pelicans and the park wildlife in an upcoming video, so make sure you subscribe to the channel to find out more about that and get lots more budget travel tips for visiting London. We're going to talk about cheap eating, free and budget-friendly activities, and getting around the city affordably, so stay tuned for all of that content. Another thing you should know when visiting London, particularly if you're visiting public areas like parks, the bathrooms are not always free. London has paid toilets, which is something I never encountered before. They're not expensive, like typically less than $1, or to be British about it, £1. However, it is still odd you pay for admission to the public bathroom, like it's a hot place to be. Avoid this by looking for a pub. You definitely won't have much trouble finding one of those in London, no matter where you are, and toilets and pubs are free. They're also pretty nice. London has really good public facilities, so if you can hold out for a few minutes, you shouldn't have too much trouble finding a free place to go, when you need to go. So now you've got some basic tips to help you if you're planning a trip to London. Come back to the channel next week and I'll have lots more tips for you if you want to visit London in style and on a budget. The sources I used for this video are in the description box below if you want to take a deeper dive. Thank you for watching, and thank you for taking the journey with me. Now, Voyager, sail forth to seek and find.